Imagine a late night. You're sitting in the dim light of your room, phone in your hand. You open your banking app. Your fingers tremble slightly, a habit from countless checks of will it be enough until the end of the month. You already know what you'll see. Red numbers, endless minus, constant fear. But this time, everything is different. The number on the screen is positive, and not just positive, it gives you something you haven't felt in years. Your breathing becomes steadier, your shoulders slowly drop. In your head, silence instead of the usual scream, "How will I survive?" The heavy weight in your chest that followed you every day is gone. This is not 1,000,000, not 100,000. This is just $20,000. But it is after this amount that everything changes even more strongly than after the first thousands or even 10. Much stronger. Why? Because here the era of survival ends and the real adult game for your life begins. Here your brain finally switches from the save yourself at any cost mode to the I can build and win mode. Money stops being an enemy you need to fear. It becomes a quiet but powerful ally. Now get ready, because what happens after these $20,000 is no longer just savings. This is a quiet inner revolution that changes everything. How you think, how you make decisions, and how you relate to yourself and the world around you. Today, we will break down this milestone in detail, why it becomes a point of no return for those who decided to escape the endless rat race, why many stop right here and slide back, and what you need to do so that gravity starts working for you, not against you. Most men live with the feeling that they are always on the edge. The morning starts with an anxious thought. Will there be enough for gas, for groceries, for an unexpected repair bill? The day passes in work that often brings neither pleasure nor decent return. The evening is spent in calculations and a feeling of guilt before family or yourself. You try. You save every penny. You give up normal rest, hobbies, sometimes even sleep. You manage to save $200 to $500 a month if you're lucky. But the feeling that you're standing still or slowly sinking never leaves you. Every large expense feels like a punch to the gut. Losing a job feels like a death sentence. A refused raise reminds you that you do not control your destiny. And then you hear from different experts, you need $1,000,000. You need passive income of $10,000 a month. It sounds inspiring, but for most people, it feels like a distant horizon. The closer you get, the farther it moves away. But the real truth is much closer and much harsher than it seems. $20,000 is not just a number in your account. It is the first real milestone, after which the rules of the game change dramatically. Your brain, your emotions, your opportunities, everything starts working differently. Imagine a huge, heavy boulder on a steep slope. You have been pushing it upward for many years. Every inch is given with sweat, blood, and giving up everything. Your hands are covered in calluses, your back hurts, sweat floods your eyes. Sometimes it seems there is no strength left, and the stone is about to roll down, crushing everything. This is your financial life before $20,000. Every dollar is a fight with yourself. Every saved cent is a small victory over habits and fears. You sacrifice morning coffee, evening gatherings, new things. You live in a mode of strict economy. And then, one day, the boulder slowly, with great effort, rolls over the top. From this moment, gravity stops pulling it down. It starts to help. At first, the movement is slow, then faster and faster, and you no longer push with all your strength, you just guide and adjust the course. After $20,000, exactly the same thing happens with your money. Vanguard research shows even a small cushion of $2,000 to $3,000 already reduces stress levels. But when the amount crosses $20,000, this is no longer just relief. It is a complete reboot of thinking and emotional state. Your brain comes out of chronic survival mode. It stops wasting huge energy on the constant fear, what if there is not enough for food or repairs? The freed energy is directed toward growth, opportunities, and long-term planning. You stop living with the question, can I afford this right now? You start asking a different question, how can I use this to get even more freedom and opportunities in the future? This is the moment when, for the first time in a long time, you feel real calm. Not a short euphoria from a new purchase, but deep, adult, masculine calm. You go to bed and don't scroll through dozens of catastrophic scenarios in your head. You wake up and don't immediately rush to check the balance in panic. This is the freedom that cannot be bought for a smaller amount, because below $20,000, everything is still too fragile. One major car repair, one job loss, one unexpected medical problem, and everything can reset in a few weeks. After $20,000, a real buffer appears. Space to breathe, opportunity to maneuver without panic. For men, this is especially important. We are biologically and socially wired to be protectors, providers, and the support for our family. When you cannot even protect yourself, a quiet shame, irritation, and feeling of powerlessness settle inside. After $20,000, this burden begins to lift. You straighten your shoulders, your voice becomes more confident, your gaze becomes firmer. You stop being the guy who was afraid to say no to a toxic boss or a bad deal, because now you have walking away money, money that gives you real strength to leave and not break. But this is only the beginning of the emotional shift. According to research, people with assets below $20,000 have significantly higher chances of depression and anxiety symptoms. When the financial buffer appears, the brain switches from scarcity mode to abundance mode. Every new dollar no longer feels like salvation, but becomes a tool for growth. Let's look at how this works in real life. Alexei, 34 years old, ordinary IT specialist. Average salary, wife, small child, mortgage that eats half the income. Every month was like a battle. He started saving $400 a month. It took 2 years for the first $10,000, another year for the next. When the balance showed $20,400, for the first time he did not panic when the car broke down. The repair cost almost $2,000. He paid it calmly and continued living. He didn't go into debt. He didn't ask relatives for help. A few months later, he refused overtime for the first time. He said directly, "I value the offer, but I have other priorities now." A week later, he was offered a promotion, not because he started working harder, but because he stopped looking desperate and cornered. Another story. Sergey, 28 years old, freelancer with unstable income. Before $20,000, he lived in constant fear, what if my main client leaves tomorrow? After reaching the amount, he raised his prices by 40% for the first time. The clients didn't run away. They stayed and even recommended him further because he stopped offering services from a position of weakness and need. There's also a story from Reddit that touched many. A man saved about $25,000. When he lost his $45,000 a year job, the family didn't panic. They had time. The husband spent the first year building his own business. There were hard periods, but a few years later, he was earning $80,000 and kept growing. Without these savings, he would have had to grab the first available job and possibly stay trapped forever. There are also reverse examples. Many reach $20,000 and celebrate. They buy new gadgets on credit, arrange a well-deserved vacation abroad, or simply relax. Through 6 to 12 months, the balance is close to zero again. Why? Because their thinking remained the thinking of a person in scarcity. Finally, I can allow myself. Real winners act differently. They use these $20,000 as a powerful springboard. Now, what few people talk about, but what changes everything. After $20,000, not only your bank account changes, the people around you change, in you yourself. You start radiating a different energy, calm strength, confidence without aggression. And this energy attracts. It attracts serious business partners, mentors who didn't notice you before, investors ready to consider your ideas. Even in personal life, women and friends start treating you differently. They feel the backbone. Because money is concentrated energy. When you have the first critical mass, it starts working to attract new opportunities. But there is also a dark side to this turning point. Some old friends will start to distance themselves. Relatives may ask to share more often. The environment will pressure. Why do you need all this? Live like everyone else. Don't stand out. This is an important test of character. Those who pass it understand the harsh truth. $20,000 is not the finish line and not a reason to relax. It is only the start of the real war for your freedom. A war where the main enemy is not external circumstances, but your own old habits, fears, and environment. Here, the most powerful shift happens. Your income stops being the only source of existence. Money starts making new money. Even at conservative 7 to 8% per year, $20,000 already gives $1,400 to $1,600 passively per year. If you continue to add $1,000 to $1,500 monthly, the process accelerates exponentially. When you reach $20,000, don't stop. Here's what the winners do next. 1. Fix your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, and never touch it. 2. Start investing the rest, or at least part of it, into low-cost index funds. 3. Automate your transfers. 4. Review your environment and habits. Add new skills that will increase your income. 5. Celebrate correctly, not by spending, but with a small ritual of acknowledging your victory. $20,000 by itself will not make you rich in one moment. It will not buy you a yacht or a life without worries, but it will make you a completely different person, a person who no longer lives in constant fear of life, who looks to the future with confidence, not anxiety, who makes decisions from a position of inner strength, not desperation. This is the milestone after which everything really changes, even more than you expected, because here the era of survival ends and the era of creation begins. If you are now somewhere between zero and these $20,000, don't give up. Every dollar you save today is another push to that boulder upward. It is already close to the top. When it rolls over, you will feel for yourself how everything begins to change, how calm comes, how opportunities open up, how life stops being a struggle and becomes a game in which you are the main player.